So here's the deal. I fully intended on shooting a video today for the brushing techniques I use in my Shishugibon. However, I shot the whole thing and I went back to edit and all the footage is garbage. It's absolutely garbage. I'm really limited on space in here, obviously. There's the remnants of said video shoot. You can see I got everything ready to go right there. With nowhere to put my camera, I decided I wanted to build a monopod. Now, yes, I could go online and buy a monopod, but once you start looking at stuff online, at least for me, I get sucked down this rabbit hole where I see one that's nice and cheap and it'll get me by, but I've had that experience before and then it always leaves me wanting more. So I decided for a few bucks I'd run down to the Home Depot and I would grab some stuff and make my own with partially with what I have here and partially with the new stuff I found. So I got some stuff at Home Depot. I got some high quality H2O. Clearly it's water. Let's go make a monopod. I got a dowel. This is an 1.25 inch dowel. We got a telescoping handle. This is actually for a paint roller, so you can extend the handle out. You can get nice up against tall walls, stuff like that. I suppose you could use it for other things like we are. We're going to use it as our extension for our monopod. Now the idea is we can set it on the floor like this and I can raise it up all the way up. Anyways, now I got a 1/4-20 all thread because that's what my tripod mount is. And I got some 1/4-20 nuts to go with it. I got a receipt, and I got a few packs of these little mounting pads. I might put these on some cutting boards later, so I grabbed a few pads. These are anti-skid feet. They just screw into the bottom of, say, a chair, table, something like that. I put them on cutting boards sometimes. We might put them on the bottom of our stand today. Now, when I was at the store, I was looking at these different extendable handles, and the end of it is squishy. That leads me to believe it's hollow. So I'm going to do what any normal person would do, and then I'm going to destroy a new thing. I'm going to poke a hole in here, we're going to cut that open, and I believe it should be just the right size to put that dowel inside. One thing to keep in mind is when this thing is down, this ring right here comes all the way to the bottom. So as we open this up, you can see it disappear. So we want to keep that in mind so when we cut our dowel and put it in there, we don't go too far down and really obstruct keeping this thing short. In hindsight, that's only when it locks. It doesn't necessarily have to come down all the way. We could just have it come down and sit there. I don't think it's going to matter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shave this down a little bit to fit inside of here because they're really close to the same thickness, if not exactly the same thickness. So I'm going to shave this down and see if we can slide it down in there, and then we'll cut a chunk off. I think that'll work. Alright, so we cut the little piece off and it fits in there pretty snug. Now I think I'm going to super glue this in because super glue hasn't failed me in the past, and this handle's fiberglass and this is wood, so not sure how that's going to work, but I mean, what's the worst that could happen? My camera could crash and fall and break, and let's try it. Now first, we need a base. Before I glue this in here, we need a base. So let's attach this to a piece of plywood. That sounds good to me. I just need a base that I can carry along and set down. It's gonna be fairly sturdy, hopefully really sturdy. I have a lot of plywood scraps laying around, and this piece I think will work just fine. It's maybe a little overkill. I honestly have no idea. I know when you buy a monopod online, maybe you can get ones that have the little feet that kick out from it. I don't know what the footprint on those are, but I don't have that, so let's use this. Now I think what I'm going to do is just use these little construction screws, drywall screws if you will. They're probably about 1 5/8 long. I'm just going to put 2 screws in right here, and to do that I'm actually going to use a countersink bit, and that way that should snug them up pretty tight. And we'll just go ahead and find a spot here. And we put these screws in here, and we have this on the back side, and that'll hold that pole nice and tight. I should be able to line those up right on here fairly easy. Looks pretty solid to me. Now for the top, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drill a hole in the top of that. That'll take our 1/4 inch all thread that we bought at the store, and that'll let us screw our adapter plate on there. So let's get a drill. Now in hindsight, I think this thing actually comes apart. So what I'm going to do here is see how easily that happens. Because if that happens fairly easy, should probably get smart about things. Perfect. So now I don't have to work with that in my way anymore. And what we can do is we can run the all thread all the way through here. So let's get a 1/4 inch drill bit. All right, now that that fits on there nice, let's go cut this end off with a hacksaw. This thing's trash. By hacksaw, I meant sawzall. I'll just clean this up with a file a little bit. Good as new. So now we should be able to take that screw and thread one of our nuts on there. Gets threaded into here. Should be good enough. Now in the meantime, I went ahead and super glued this pole onto the base. Let's see how well that holds up. Now if that works, we'll go ahead and fasten this back up to the top of it. So far so good. Now I typically use a Joby Gorilla Pod to shoot most of my footage. It works really nice. I can set it pretty much anywhere, but the fact that it has such short legs makes it fairly limited. Until I find a decent replacement, I'm actually going to undo that screw in the center up there, and we're going to use the head of this on the newsstand. So if you go underneath this thing, there's actually a screw that you can undo from down here, and it'll come apart just like that. Now, don't lose that screw. All right, now if all went right, this should screw right on top of here, like so. And now we have a full pivoting axis. Now, this thing does seem a little wobbly. I suppose if we put some weights on here, it'll actually stiffen it up just fine. Now, keep in mind, later on I can go back and put wheels on this if I want. The whole idea with this is that I can just pick it up, set it somewhere else, pan the camera where I want, and shoot video basically here in my shop. This isn't going to be traveling with me. It's a total hack job. It's just to get by with some cheap materials. There's a couple other good things about doing this. One, this I obviously already had. So I'm saving a little bit of money, but I can also just unscrew this and put it right back on my Gorilla Pod, throw it in my backpack, and away I go. The other good thing is that the pod itself, this handle, I can take off of here with the 2 screws at the bottom at any time and use it for the tool that it's meant to be used for. So that really does double for me with what I do. It doubles up pretty well. Fits on there pretty well. I loosen up the ball, I can drop it down. I can come in nice and tight with stuff. So the idea is now I can just pick this whole thing up, move it over here. I could bring it in super close. Now, if you don't mess with tripods much, this one has this little groove right here, and that allows it to drop right down into the center. So if we turn that around, in theory, we could drop this thing straight down. So now I can look straight down onto what I'm doing. That's not too bad. Alright guys, that's it from me. Hopefully this little contraption will help me shoot video a little bit easier. Alright, so if you like this video, good for you. I hope so. That was the intent. Hopefully you learned a little bit. I know I did. And man, I can't wait to try this thing out actually and see how well it works for shooting videos. So video number 3 will be reshot either tonight or tomorrow morning. Video number 4 on Shishugibon will be shot very closely after that. I actually went to the store, I bought new boards. I didn't even like the boards in the first video that I shot because they were just, everything was garbage today, but at least we got this really cool new little camera rig out of it. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video, if it helped out at all. If you have any other tips and tricks for me on how to make some cool camera gear, let me know. DIY and budget friendly is always a good thing. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching till the end, and I will talk to you in the next video.